I should say hello, CPTM members and smart partners. It is Friday, and as usual, we have one more countdown until the think tanking and annual general meeting at the CPTM Smart Partners Hub in London. We are all, our team here, finishing off the day. It's almost 5:15. I'm sure we will still be a few hours here, and we just made a break, and we are trying to a coffee break, and we're trying to see if we can tell you where we are. The great news of this week is that, as we announced at the beginning, a number of national think tanking sessions took place, and some of them took shape of national sessions, and that was one of them in Seychelles in relation to the Seychelles 2020 vision. And we want to congratulate on behalf of all of us the Seychelles Smart Partners team, and hopefully they will share with us their outcome from testing the different parts of the so-called CPTM Smart Partnership algorithm for how nations succeed rather than fail. We would also like to congratulate actually the National Economic Consultative Forum in Harare, Professor Christian Tsanga, supported by the new director of NECF, Mr. Chakanatse. They've been able to have again a think tanking session today, this morning, and they were focusing specifically on the technology inclusion in addition to the other parts of the algorithm, but within the technology inclusion on gene cloning and agriculture. So that is as part of the taking forward the issues from Dar es Salaam towards South Africa. We were also very happy, and we congratulate again the team in Namibia that they were able to, following their briefings and follow up from the dialogue in Dar es Salaam, they were able to attract the Deputy Prime Minister of Namibia to the annual think tanking and AGM at the Hub in London. So we look forward to his participation. And he will also have a very special session and probably a working visit, hopefully to Manchester, where he's probably very keen to see the graphene, and also one or two other things that our colleagues in Manchester, led by Professor Luc Georgiou, will be able to put together for him. Now, the only other thing that I'd like to say this week is that an outline of the 3 days is in place, including the dynamics, the think tanking session, the special guests, and including in particular the think tanking session on the specific situations in selected countries, so, which will be alongside Seychelles, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and hopefully Botswana. I made a note here, Lesotho, Swaziland, Barbados, Uganda, Cameroon. That particular session will be on Thursday morning, and in different groups, and will attract also through a live smartcast special interventions from the movement, those who are not here. All the think tanking sessions, which are about 5, they will be, with the exception of the one that is a think tanking session in closed but open to the smartcasters, will be live webcasted, and but to obviously the smart partners invitees, and the AGM will be specifically webcasted, live webcasted to the CPTM members registered only, and the annual ceremony of the companions will be live webcasted to all the CPTM smart partners and members, not only the invitees. So we are almost there in relation to the physical dynamics of the CPTM Smart Partners Hub, and I'll try next week to try to introduce you to how things will happen, for the purpose of probably trying to do something similar or even better in a different environment in your own context. Finally, our team also put together some smart reading tips, but one of it that I'd like to start with and relate to is we mentioned a few times about the fact that this smart partnership algorithm, as we call it, in relation to how nations could succeed rather than fail, needs to be understood in its own context. This algorithm is a metaphor, but it's probably one of the best at the moment for us to relate to. Now, the algorithm, just in case those who think that is a new word created specifically for the digital and the computers softwares, the algorithm is a very old concept. In fact, it is it comes from the Arabs, who were very interested in abstract algebra, and one of the famous mathematician astronomer was called Al-Kharith, and in Latin it was referred to as algorithmus. This is how algorithm came about, and since then it developed quite extensively, and even today in the digital age, the algorithm actually predominate what is called changing the futures through at least 9 algorithms. But the algorithm that we're talking about as a metaphor is about visions, national visions, participation as a pattern of all the individual citizens, and maybe focusing on at least 3 operative arms which themselves they need to interconnect. And they do interconnect. We don't need to do anything about it, just be aware about it. The quality and standards, inclusion and technology, and financial inclusion. Obviously, there are other modes of expressing the algorithmic development besides the patterns, and that is one that again it was included in today's email, and that is almost like the technology genome, which is described through a number of interconnections which at a point of time formed a particular shape. Again, probably we would be able, and we will aim to, try to see if our networks and sub-networks could be described in a bulky form, similar in relation to the focus that everybody had. Because in the nature that I wanted to attract your attention was related to genomics themselves. There was an announcement that the genomic research in Africa received a boost on 18th of October when the National Institute for Health in the United States announced the award of 10 grants totaling $17 million from Human Heredity and Health in Africa program. The 4-year grants will fund research on the role of genetics in disorders such as tuberculosis, and African sleeping sickness, and will support 2 science centers in Nigeria. Backed by National Institute for Health and UK Wellcome Trust, the H3, as it's called, Africa, has awarded $74 million for research since its inception in 2010. In fact, this is something that Julia Makani and others in Tanzania were referring to lately. So hopefully they will be part of it. One other useful thing, and why you may wish to try to subscribe online or otherwise at Nature, are very interesting updates of reading tips. One of it, as it happened, we kind of had it and wanted to introduce you to you, and which is more related to the relationship between scientists and politicians, and in particular contexts. And again, one of our most favorite kind of scientist, but very good writer, Philip Ball, put something together calling Serving the Reich, which in itself, the book, is very well reviewed, and we include in this week Nature. We would like very much to see if we can pick up some of the issues that Philip Ball raised in this very well documented book, which is not relevant only for the context that he wrote, Serving the Reich, but is relevant for any national context where scientists usually try to avoid to relate to the politicians, which probably is the natural way of doing it. But if one doesn't do enough in the language of the politicians, advice at the right time in the right context, that is also a problem. So it's a very worthwhile book to pick up and to reflect in your own context. With this, there are a few other things that are included in this email, but wish you good luck for this weekend.